Well, there it is. The moment the Indiana Fever made it painfully clear. They have no idea what to do with Caitlin Clark. In case you missed it, though, let's be real, if you blinked for even half a second, the clip was already everywhere. A coach, an assistant coach, physically grabbed Caitlin Clark mid-celebration during a game and shut her down. Like she was some overenthusiastic rookie who forgot the act like you've been here before rule. Except she hasn't been here before. Nobody has. Because no rookie, no player, no WNBA athlete in history has arrived on the scene with the gravitational pull Caitlin Clark brings. So why is her own team acting like she's the problem?
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
This wasn't just an awkward moment or some miscommunication on the sidelines. This was a line in the sand, a power play, a message. We see you. We hear the noise, and we don't care. You're on our team, but not on your terms. And the worst part? Everyone saw it. The fans, the cameras, Clark herself. Her reaction said it all. 1 second, she's beaming, clearly caught up in the high of a great play. The next, she's being yanked back to earth by someone in a polo shirt who apparently thinks joy is a technical foul. Her smile vanished. Her shoulders slumped. And then came that flash of confusion, frustration, disbelief. You could see it on her face. The joy was gone. This isn't just about one moment. That grab was symbolic. It wasn't just a physical interruption. It was emotional, psychological, a total vibe killer. And it exposed exactly what's wrong with this organization. Because how do you physically stop your star player, your franchise player, from celebrating? How do you literally put hands on the one person who is single-handedly keeping the lights on in your building? And no, that's not exaggeration. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's an economy. She's driving ticket sales, jersey sales, media coverage, and brand engagement. Her presence alone has generated millions. She's not just the future, she's the now. And yet, the Indiana Fever are treating her like a liability instead of the asset that she is. Let's call it what it is. Insecurity. The Fever staff, whether consciously or not, are intimidated by her power. They didn't sign up to coach a global sensation. They signed up to coach a team. And now, they're scrambling to regain control of something that's become bigger than the system they built it in. And that's why Clark is being micromanaged. We've seen it all season. Reduced minutes, questionable rotations, tactically minimizing her in big moments, only to watch the game fall apart when she's off the court. And now, they've taken it to the next level. They're not just controlling her game, they're trying to control her spirit. Because when you stop someone from celebrating, you're not protecting the team. You're dimming their light. And you could feel that energy shift. The entire crowd, the fans watching at home, everyone who saw that moment. You could feel the air go out of the building. Because that celebration, that was authentic. That was real. That was Caitlin Clark loving the game, being in the moment, doing what stars do. And someone looked at that and thought, yeah, let's shut that down. Are you kidding? What's wild is that the very thing the WNBA needs, joy, charisma, showmanship, personality, is being smothered from within. And for what? To keep things professional? To act like you've been there? Here's a news flash. She hasn't been there. No one has. Caitlin Clark is breaking records. Breaking norms, breaking open the WNBA in a way nobody else has. This is new, and the league needs to let her live in it. Instead, she's stuck in an environment that sees her star power as a threat, not a gift. And now, she's clearly feeling it. Have you seen her lately? The body language? The blank stares after timeouts? The refusal to engage in celebrations with her teammates? That's not a player who's just tired. That's a player who's losing the joy. And that's dangerous, because when you strip the joy away from an athlete, especially one who thrives on emotion, energy, and rhythm, you don't just dim their personality. You compromise their performance. You introduce doubt. You fracture trust. You break momentum. You kill the very thing that made them special. So let's be real. This isn't a Caitlin Clark problem. This is an Indiana Fever problem. This is a WNBA-wide problem. Because if the league can't figure out how to nurture, not suppress, its stars, it's going to lose them. And not just metaphorically. Let's go ahead and say the scary part out loud. Clark has options. She's the kind of generational talent who doesn't have to put up with this. If the Fever keep dragging her through this toxic team culture, if they keep prioritizing outdated team-first systems over star development, she won't stick around. She'll bounce, whether that's to another team, another league, or another sporting ecosystem altogether. Clark has the kind of brand power that transcends the WNBA. She does not need them, but they desperately need her. And if other teams are smart, and trust me, they're watching all of this unfold and licking their chops. Because if Caitlin Clark hits the market, if she even hints at being open to a move, every team in the league will drop everything to make room for her. And honestly, they should, because the Indiana Fever are treating her like a rookie role player, when in reality, she's the best thing to happen to their franchise in decades. And it's not just about money, or ratings, or attention. It's about what Clark represents. She is the first WNBA star to genuinely shift culture, not just in basketball, but in sports at large. She's drawing in new fans. She's turning casuals into super fans. She's changing what it means to be a women's sports icon. And what's her reward? Being grabbed on the court like she's out of line for enjoying herself. Absolutely not. That's not how you treat a star. That's not how you treat anyone. So what now? If the Fever don't change course fast, they're going to implode. There's no way around it. You cannot build a dynasty while simultaneously undermining your cornerstone. That's Sports 101. You don't clip the wings of the player that's carrying your franchise. You build around them. You protect them. You let them lead. Instead, the Fever are desperately trying to fit Clark into a mold that she was never meant to fit in. She's not here to play small. She's not here to be humble and quiet and corporate. She's here to dominate. And the more they suppress that, the closer they get to losing her for good. So let's be clear. This isn't just a bad coaching decision. This is organizational self-sabotage. And if the WNBA doesn't step in, if someone with authority doesn't pull this franchise aside and say, "What are you doing?" then we're going to watch one of the greatest athletes of our time get driven out of the league by the very people who should be building statues of her. And no, that's not dramatic. That's just where we are. So what do you think? Was this just an overreaction to a minor incident? Or is Caitlin Clark being actively suppressed by her own team? Are we watching a generational talent get mismanaged right before our eyes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into sports drama, celebrity meltdowns, and the moments that break the internet, don't forget to subscribe. All right, let's keep peeling back the layers of this mess, because what happened to Caitlin Clark isn't just a one-time incident. It's not just a coach getting carried away or a moment of passion on the sidelines. Nah, this is systemic. It's a culture problem, an identity crisis. A franchise built like a small market team suddenly handed a superstar and going, "Wait, what do we do with this?" And the answer so far has been, contain her. Let's say it again louder for the people in the back. You do not contain a generational talent. You build around her. You elevate her. You give her the freedom to lead, to express, to take risks, and yes, to celebrate herself. Because that's what fans love. That's what fans pay for. But instead, Indiana's been treating Clark like she's an overachieving intern who forgot to stay in her lane. From the moment she arrived, it's been a passive-aggressive tug-of-war. Minutes limited, play calling weirdly off, post-game comments laced with subtle jabs. You'd think this was some disgruntled vet with attitude problems, not the one player who's actually making you relevant. Seriously, before Caitlin Clark, when was the last time the Indiana Fever were trending anywhere outside of Indiana? Exactly. This team was invisible. Now, they're on ESPN every night, and they're acting like they don't know whether to say thank you or hand her a muzzle. And you've got to ask yourself why. What is it about Caitlin Clark that has this coaching staff so rattled? It's not her work ethic. She shows up. She plays hard. She's coachable. It's not her attitude. She's confident, yeah, but respectful. She doesn't throw tantrums. She doesn't undermine teammates. She doesn't grandstand. So what is it? It's the power. Because here's the ugly truth nobody wants to say out loud. The Indiana Fever are not just coaching Caitlin Clark. They're managing her celebrity. And they're failing spectacularly. They're scared. You can see it. Scared of losing control. scared of being just the background in the Caitlin Clark show. And instead of stepping into the spotlight with her, they've chosen to dim it. They want to remind everyone, including her, that this is their team, which is wild, because you'd think they'd be thrilled to have someone dragging them out of obscurity and into relevance. But instead, it's egos, insecurity, control issues. It's that old-school sports mindset. No one's bigger than the team. But newsflash, sometimes they are. Michael Jordan was bigger than the Bulls. Serena was bigger than women's tennis. LeBron was bigger than every franchise he touched. That's not ego, it's just facts. And right now, Caitlin Clark is bigger than the Indiana Fever. And rather than embracing that, this organization is caught up in a losing battle to keep her grounded. And in doing so, they're not just hurting her, they're hurting themselves. Because while they're busy pulling her back mid-celebration, the rest of the league is building blueprints on how to land her if she leaves. Don't kid yourself. Every team is watching this situation like hawks. Front offices around the league are already having quiet conversations. What if she gets sick of Indiana? What if she wants out in a couple years? What do we need to do to get her here? And you know what? They won't just treat her better. They'll build the whole damn franchise around her. They'll run the offense through her. Give her the media team she deserves. They'll let her cook. Let her celebrate. Let her take over games the way she knows how to. Because that's the kind of treatment a star earns. That's how you create long-term loyalty. But the Fever? They're fumbling it. This is the same team that, after drafting the most impactful player in women's basketball history, couldn't even get her a proper introductory press conference. No parade, no banner, no rollout worthy of her name. Just tossed her into a plain backdrop and some light media availability like it was any other rookie. That should have been the first red flag. Because the Indiana Fever don't know what to do with a superstar. And they sure as hell don't know what to do with this superstar. And if they're not careful, she's going to walk. No, not tomorrow. Not this season. But if you think Caitlin Clark is going to spend her entire career being silenced, sidelined, and told to tone it down, you're not paying attention. She's a brand, a business, a one-woman media empire. She's got the power to pivot to another team, another market, even another sporting space if she doesn't feel supported. And when she leaves, she's not just taking her stats with her. She's taking the ticket sales, the national broadcasts, the sellout arenas, the highlight reels, the new fans, the entire wave of casuals who showed up for her. You know what happens when that kind of star leaves a market? You go right back to irrelevance. Empty seats, silent arenas, local media coverage, forgotten. Again, so the Fever have two choices. One, keep clinging to control, watching their superstars shrink under the weight of their micromanagement. Two, or let go of their fear and let Caitlin be Caitlin. Because this isn't just a coaching issue. It's an organizational philosophy. It's the difference between teams that adapt to greatness and teams that resist it because it makes them feel small. Right now, the Indiana Fever are choosing resistance. But here's the kicker. Caitlin Clark isn't the kind of player you resist. She's the kind you ride with. All the way. Through the wins, the losses, the chaos. Because when you believe in her, she delivers. Always has. Always will. That coach grabbing her mid-celebration, that wasn't about sportsmanship. That was about sending a message. And unfortunately, they sent the wrong one. To Clark, to the fans, and to the league. The message was, we're not ready for this. And guess what? That's fine. You don't have to be ready. But she is. So to the Indiana Fever, consider this your wake-up call. Because the clock is ticking, and Caitlin Clark won't wait forever. Either you rise to meet her greatness, or someone else will. Let's not pretend this is just a rough patch. This isn't Caitlin Clark trying to find her rhythm in the pros. This isn't a team going through growing pains. What's happening in Indiana is the slow, public mishandling of the biggest star the WNBA has ever had, and every moment of it is playing out in real time. You saw the clip, the grab. That frozen second when Caitlin Clark, mid-celebration, was physically restrained by her own coach. And look, it doesn't matter if it was just a tap, a hold, a calm-down gesture. When you watch it, you feel it in your gut. That wasn't just a coach correcting behavior. That was a coach trying to remind a star that she's not too big for the team. And that's exactly the problem. Because the moment an organization stops encouraging joy, expression, and confidence in a player like Caitlin Clark, especially after a game-changing play, you know the culture is rotting from the inside out. This should be her era, her league, her moment. She came in with the momentum of a freight train. Fans traveled hours across states just to see her play. Grown adults stood in line to buy jerseys with her name on the back. And kids? They weren't just cheering. They were bringing handmade signs, wearing homemade headbands, drawing her number on their arms in Sharpie. That's what she means to this league. And this is how she's being treated? It's giving know your place. It's giving don't outshine the system. It's giving fear, plain and simple. And let's be real, it's not just that one coach, that one grab. That moment didn't happen in a vacuum. That moment is the product of weeks, no, months, of strange energy from the Indiana Fever. Passive-aggressive rotations, weirdly cold post-game quotes, this subtle but persistent vibe that Clark needs to be kept in check, that she's somehow doing too much just by being herself. You can see it on the court. When she hits a big shot, sometimes her teammates don't even react. When she throws a slick assist, there's barely a nod. When she celebrates, she gets side-eyed. That's not chemistry. That's tension. That's the kind of internal static that kills locker rooms, kills joy, and eventually kills careers. And you know what the saddest part is? This could have been magic. Imagine a team that welcomed her with open arms. Imagine coaches who built the system around her. Imagine teammates who celebrated her success because they understood that rising tides lift all ships. Instead, what do we have? A coaching staff acting like Clark needs to be tamed, and a franchise that looks more annoyed by her spotlight than empowered by it. And sure, they'll say the right things. We support her. We're all learning. It's a process, but you can't gaslight the fans when the footage speaks louder than the press release. Because here's the truth. Caitlin Clark is playing like someone who knows she's not wanted in her full form. She's shrinking herself to make the people around her more comfortable. And for a player like her, that's a death sentence. She was never supposed to play small. She's a game breaker, a risk taker, a headline maker. She doesn't belong in a system that tries to stuff her into a corner and turn her into a polite point guard with good manners and short minutes. She's not here for that. And if the Fever think they're doing her or themselves any favors by trying to control her shine, they're delusional. You don't harness a star by tightening the leash. You give them room to fly, and you build something worthy around them. But no, what the Fever are doing is the exact opposite. They're trying to teach her humility at the exact moment they should be empowering her greatness. They're trying to make her one of the team when the whole reason people are watching is because she's not just one of the team. And listen, this isn't some me-first diva rant. Caitlin Clark isn't out here demanding special treatment. She's not throwing tantrums, not making scenes, not stirring up drama. She's grinding. She's leading. She's playing through hard fouls, through relentless pressure, through a literal mountain of expectation. And still, she gets dragged by her own coaches for celebrating a good play. Let's not mince words. That's not coaching. That's insecurity with a whistle around its neck. Because here's what's really happening. Caitlin Clark has already become bigger than the Indiana Fever. And instead of adjusting to that reality, they're resisting it like it's a threat. They're still trying to pretend this is 2019, like they're a rebuilding team quietly developing talent under the radar. But newsflash, the radar exploded the minute Clark was drafted. Every game is national news now. Every play is clipped, analyzed, memed. Every time she breathes, there's a TikTok about it. She is the moment, and that's not her fault. That's the gift she brought to the league. And the Fever? They're trying to send it back like it's defective. Let's be honest. There's an expiration date on how long this situation can last. Because if you keep telling your star she's too much, eventually she believes it. Or worse, she stops listening and leaves. And that's the real danger here. Not just for the Fever, but for the entire league. Because if Caitlin Clark walks away, if she gets traded or signs elsewhere when the time comes, or heaven forbid, decides the WNBA doesn't deserve her, that's it. That's the you had one job moment. That's the collapse. Because you don't get second chances with once-in-a-generation stars. And if you do, you don't grab them by the arm when they're finally having fun. You lift them up. You protect them. You lean into what they are instead of trying to force them to be what you're comfortable with. And so now the clock is ticking. Because fans aren't blind. They see what's happening. They see the hesitation in her smile, the tired eyes in post-game interviews, the subtle shift from fiery to frustrated. This is not the Caitlin Clark who lit up Iowa. This is a player trying to survive her own franchise. And if something doesn't change soon, if the Fever don't wake up, clean house, and center this team around her the way they should have from day one, she's gone. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon. And when that happens, don't say she didn't try. Don't say she wasn't patient. Don't say she didn't give this franchise everything she had. Because the truth is, she's already given more than most players ever will. So now we turn the spotlight to the Indiana Fever front office. Are you going to fumble this? Are you going to be the team remembered for losing the most electrifying talent in women's basketball history? Or are you going to swallow your pride, rethink your systems, get the coaching staff in line, and build the dynasty you were handed on a silver platter? Because one way or another, the clock is running. And Caitlin Clark? She's not waiting forever. Let us know what you think in the comments. Are the Indiana Fever sabotaging their own star? And if so, how long before she bolts? And if you want more deep dives into the wildest moments in sports drama, PR disasters, and superstar showdowns, hit that subscribe button. Because in the world of pro sports, talent might win games, but mismanagement? That'll lose legends.